Samson leaned forward to catch my attention, taking hold of my arm. I could not rise. Astra stood still, waiting for me, until Mother snapped at her to be quick. "You never told me your name," he said. Mother's eyebrows shot up. I spoke quickly. "My mother neglected to introduce me. Yes, you are right. I am called Amara." Amara. Every girl loves the sound of her own name, but when he said it, it somehow sounded dirty. I wanted to catch it and give it a good scrubbing and make him promise not to say it again. I looked at my parents, but they had not heard anything amiss in his tone. I did not want to provoke him. I smiled and turned to look at him, to keep the pleasant pretense as best I could, while Astra fetched a crock of water. She went out the front door, which was not a good sign. We must have been near empty. I hoped she could borrow some from a neighbor, rather than have to run down to the well. I wanted desperately to be saved from Samson. This moment was my first real look into Samson's face, his expression lit by the wide, flat flames of the oil lamps. A shiver passed through me, though the room was warm. In the flickering light and shadows, his hair was no longer the first thing I noticed. Instead, the light focused on his face, illuminating it for me, so that I looked into his eyes for the first time, startled. He had a kind face, a handsome face. His eyes were wide and brown, reflecting the flames as he watched me. He was young, too, younger than I had first supposed, being no more than 18 or 20, if I guessed right. And although I was embarrassed by my own animal nature, which seemed to appear as if on command, I leaned in just a bit and inhaled through my nose. I wanted to know what he smelled like. Every animal has its own smell. He smelled clean. His hair, though long, must have been well cared for. His teeth were white and whole, and his breath was warm and sweet, as if he had been chewing on cloves. I shook myself from such dangerous contemplation. This man was a Hebrew, and a strange one at that, and he had a grudge against us. We did not even know why he was here. He leaned closer in and inhaled through his nose, keeping his eyes on me, those playful eyes that showed me the laughter he hid inside. He was making fun of me. I couldn't have helped being curious about him. He had such an outrageous appearance. Of course, he must have been used to curiosity. Samson turned away to address my father. "You know how I like the sash you're wearing. I had one myself a while back. Where did you get it? I would love to buy another." I made a wide-eyed plea to my father to say nothing, but of course he did not understand. He waved an arm across the table. "I am a merchant, my son. You have no idea the treasures I come across every week." "I am sure." Astra came through the door with a crock of water and a clean linen cloth. I wanted to jump up and kiss her for such timing, but I sat, hoping the hand-washing would give the man-beast something else to focus on. His mother took the crock first, dipping her hands in and then wiping them on the linen. She passed the crock to me. As I turned to receive it, her piercing eyes accusing me of some unknown crime as my hands touched hers. I passed the crock right over to Samson. Dirty man that he was, he laid his hands over mine as I held out the crock to him, not releasing me as together we set the crock on the table before him. When it sat there, he slid his hands off mine, slowly, his fingertips stroking the back of my hands. I clenched my teeth together, with my eyes narrowing and my nostrils flaring up. Furious that he had touched me so boldly, I jerked my hands free and tucked them under the table. My thighs went weak and hot as I stared at his face, which was already filled with stifled amusement. He knew the effect he had on me, and he held me in no respect. I balled my left hand into a fist, and when he leaned over to dip his hands in the crock, I turned my body toward him as if to speak, landing a hard punch right in his stomach. He coughed, nearly knocking the crock over. Astra gave me a stern look of rebuke, which I returned viciously. She had thrown a stick at this man's head. He wanted compensation, all right, wanted me to pay with a little fleshly affection. If he thought I would receive his advances with anything other than disgust, then he knew nothing about Philistine women and our opinion of the Hebrews.